there was definitely planning. There was method to this madness by Glenn Maxwell. Now, let's also look at what he had to say about his knock, especially when he was cramping. He goes on to say that it was a strange one. This is about the cramp and the back spasm. In an interview, he says, it was a strange one because I was cramping in one of my toes, which was going up the front of my shin. Then as I set off to try and get down the other end, I cramped in my calf as well. I was cramping both sides of my lower leg, and as I went, oh no, I'm cramping, I cramped in my left hamstring at the same time. I was like, I've got both legs cramping, and then I had a back spasm. That's when I hit the ground. And of course, that visual, that particular photograph, that image has, it's gone viral on social media. It's sort of become now, it will be synonymous with his knock. Everybody, when they mention that, whenever an article is written on Glenn Maxwell, I think him lying flat on the ground would be that one image, Jamie. That's the kind of pain that he was in. Chetan, to think that you still want to carry on. You don't want to say, you know what, I just cannot do it. And cramps can be terrible. I mean, to play through cramps, it's a horrible thing.
Oh, absolutely. You know, there was this moment when he was just writhing in pain. He was just shaking. And I was like, okay, this is game over. This is where he goes off. And this is the opening that Afghanistan have been waiting for. But no, he was there. He was lying on the ground. And kudos to Afghanistan to allow him that particular time to recover. The physio did a tremendous job to allow him to stand. And then we were just watching. And, you know, what was he doing? He was standing. For the first initial deliveries, even his front foot was not moving. The only thing that was moving was his neck. His brain was functioning properly, and his hand.
Unbelievable. So this is what he had to say. He left all of us numb, and he said, I was a bit numb to it as well. He said, it is so fresh at the moment, I'm a bit numb to it. It was great fun, which is what both Jamie and I were discussing last night, that he seems to be in control. He seemed to be having fun despite being in that pain, despite dealing with it in that way. It just felt like it was me and Patty having fun out there. I'll probably reflect a bit more over the next few days and hopefully recover and get some movement back in my hamstring and calves. It is pretty raw at the moment. And I think that, to me, was fantastic to watch, Jamie. To see that he was actually having fun. He really didn't have a care in the world. He wanted to just help his team win. But beyond that, there was no thought of, oh gosh, I have to get to 100. Oh gosh, let me try and get to a double 100. Because at one point, we were talking about saying that, listen, he's going to get to his double 100 if that's how he's going to keep batting. And but from the way he went about his batting, clearly no care in the world.
Again, like Chetan said, it's extraordinary what this guy did, right? He's not the tallest, he's not the strongest, he's not the most physically intimidating a batsman. But despite that lean frame, very Ricky Ponting-like frame, he has this ability to just have rubbery wrists. He can manufacture shots,
Yeah.
While watching that, as the mind does, you try and wonder to, like we discussed, past innings, past situations. I finally settled on past batsmen, but I mean, of this era. And really, to my mind, and please, both of you weigh in if you have any other names, I could only come up with Chris Gayle and A.B. de Villiers, who could conceivably do what he did, because de Villiers was a freak of nature. He had that 360 game, and then Gayle, on best of days, didn't like to run. And Gayle's range and power was so much that if any other batsman in this era came close to doing what he did, it was these two. But what separates for me Glenn Maxwell is the fact that he was enjoying himself. AB might have taken the pressure of being a South African in a chase on his shoulders. Chris Gayle might have had, who knows, he might have been thinking of his birthday party, who knows. But Maxwell was just so in the moment, and I don't think I'll do justice to describing what I think he was in. He seemed happy. Like I said, maybe 2 drop catches and 2 reprieves. Chalo, yeah, let's go. But he didn't seem worried. And when you're doing that with scoreboard pressure, with the World Cup semifinal standings on the line, and then that immense pain, we've seen many, many batsmen succumb to pain. So whatever he was given, whatever was told to him by, I think Jones is the physio's name. I don't know his full name. I had no doubt that once he crossed that boundary line, he was not coming back. So something in him probably flicked. Maybe the fact that those 42 runs were there. He thought, you know what, I'll do it. It's just superhuman what this guy did.
Glenn Maxwell tries to explain it, and he says that at one point that there was this talk around retiring Hurt because he was in pain, he wasn't being able to run, but then this is what the conversation was. He says, we talked about coming off, trying to get some work into my back and trying to loosen up my legs a little bit. Jonesy, Jamie was saying, Nick Jones, the Australian physio, he said that it would be really hard to come back out down the stairs after that. So probably made the job a little more simple, and then we came up with, let's just stay at the same end for as long as we can until you sort of feel like you can at least walk at the other end of it. There's an easy single here and there. For a while, if I can get one or two boundaries from one end, it didn't really matter what happened at the other end because we got it to around a runner ball at that stage. There was a certain planning. It wasn't all just chaotic swinging, but there was a bit of planning to it. Now, for a lot of people who saw that innings would just say that, it's one thing that you plan something, but to execute it in this way, especially when you're struggling, when you're unable to even stand properly without your legs cramping, it's not that easy. But only someone like a Glenn Maxwell